Hello, it is Friday the 27th of January. I am Michael Raymond. Welcome to the 50th edition of Travis Smith's Sustainability Insights. This week we are looking at the UK FCA's proposals for an impact fund label. Labelling investment products is a tricky business. On the one hand, it is important to make the labels clear and meaningful to investors and to guarantee some minimum standards so that even unsophisticated investors know what they are getting. At the same time, too much prescription will limit investor choice, narrowing the range of products in the market and curb innovation, which is not in the interests of investors. If done badly, labels can also distort investment and capital allocation decisions in ways that undermine policy objectives and increase investor risk. But the fact that it is hard does not mean that it should not be attempted. If done well, fund labels can increase investor confidence and, when the labels are for sustainability-focused products, curb greenwashing, a pernicious practice global regulators are actively seeking to stamp out. The UK's attempt to create 3 flavours of sustainability label, which we wrote about in November, is therefore welcome, and so is the careful and consultative process that has been followed as the proposals have been developed. In contrast to other recent UK legal and regulatory reforms, the FCA's proposals have been widely tested with interested parties and continue to evolve in response to feedback. And importantly, the industry is actively and constructively engaged with the regulator throughout the process. The latest stage of this process ended this week, when the consultation on draft rules closed. For the impact investment community, and for private funds managers looking to add impact-specific strategies to their business, the Sustainable Impact label is of great interest. It will, no doubt, further increase appetite for both public and private impact funds. One very important feature of the UK proposals is that they are based on intentionality, meaning the investor's deliberate intention to achieve the product's stated objective, rather than underwriting outcomes. For the impact label specifically, the FCA says that the manager would need to target predefined positive and measurable social or environmental impact and invest in line with a clearly articulated theory of change. The impact managers would also seek to avoid negative environmental or social impacts while using rigorous evidence-based KPIs to capture the investor contribution to the targeted positive outcomes. The impact labels deliberately sets a high bar. It seems particularly suited to private markets funds because the FCA says that the primary channel for an investor to demonstrate the additionality of its contribution to real-world outcomes is by investing new capital to companies or projects that offer solutions to environmental or social problems. Stewardship is said to be a secondary way to demonstrate impact, but the clear implication is that it would be more difficult for funds that buy equities in the market without providing new capital to qualify as labelled impact funds. No doubt public fund managers will push back against this. The Impact Investing Institute, for example, is concerned that this focus on investor contribution might overshadow the importance of the enterprise contribution. Many would argue that if the underlying investee companies are solving real-world problems, a fund that allocates capital to those companies should qualify for an impact label, even if it is only buying their shares on the secondary market. An impact fund manager's contribution might be through stewardship, but most of the real-world impact comes from the economic activities of the underlying company. This is broadly the approach taken by the SFDR's Article 9 category, although the SFDR's well-known uncertainties mean that it has been a minefield for firms seeking to adopt it. The final FCA rules might therefore be more flexible to accommodate that concern. It will also be important to avoid some of the issues that fund managers have encountered with the SFDR, to be more precise about what kinds of enterprise contribution qualify as positive real-world impact. This is not well defined in the current rules and will therefore leave the door open to expansive interpretations and possible overlap with the other labels, Sustainable Improvers and Sustainable Focus. Another issue that the FCA has been grappling with, and which is not fully resolved in the current proposals, is how labelled products should avoid, measure and report on the negative impacts or harms associated with their investee companies' activities. The EU's current approach to do no significant harm is fraught with difficulty, and the UK proposals expressly reject it. They do offer some alternatives, including a requirement for funds to report on their unexpected investments, but for impact funds, they also say that the manager must explain in its pre-contractual disclosures how they assess prospective investee companies to ensure that they avoid unintended negative consequences. The Impact Investing Institute rightly points out that some industry-wide significant harm themes would be helpful, and over time metrics could be developed to enable consistent reporting. Other influential groups have expressly called for a clearer do no significant harm test to be introduced. The FCA is aiming to publish its final rules in the middle of 2023, and its objective, a clear and stretching label for investment products that deliberately target measurable real-world positive outcomes, is clear. The current proposals are not perfect, and the regulator will have to continue to balance various competing objectives as it fine-tunes them. The process has so far been a good one, and we hope and expect there will be further top refinement following this latest consultation round. Correctly calibrating the UK labels is particularly important if, as many will hope, they are to be adopted beyond the relatively limited sphere of UK retail and gain currency among international and institutional investors. That seems like a big ambition, especially for as long as the scope is limited to UK managed funds, but perhaps in time the UK's approach to sustainability regulation will catch on. Thank you for listening. If you would like more information on this topic, please check out our website, where you can also sign up to receive future editions of these insights, or drop me an email, michael.raymond@traverssmith.com. Also, earlier this week, our team hosted a webinar on the UK's sustainability disclosure requirements and labelling proposals. A recording is available to Travers Smith clients. Please email alex.franklin@traverssmith.com to request access.